Welcome back to Let's Get Tenure, and it's been a while. Uh, we're still working towards this achievement. It's just taking a little bit longer than expected. We are in yet another new game, the details of which is on the screen right now. And forewarning, we are kind of cheating. We're using the flatten terrain tool and the disable smoke effect tool. So I kind of apologize. I guess in the end it won't be a real achievement, but it just got annoying and I didn't really anticipate starting a new game and getting to year 162, which is where I'm at right now. But the reason that I'm making this video has more to do with a problem that has developed in this city, which is pretty much automated. Uh, Everything is as good as it can get. If we go to the town hall, which is, of course, nowhere I can find it when I'm recording. There it is. You can all make fun of me later. But we have, max health, max happiness, everybody's educated, clothed. We have a ton of food at 465,000. If we go into the inventory tab by quantity, this is where things really look great. We have peaches, which is one of our ale producing fruits. It's one of the top food by quantities. Pears is next. Then you can see cherries and plums, apples as well. So we have a huge amount of fruit that is available for making ale. And this is important in this particular city because if you look at the brewers, we have 84 brewers. So this economy is kind of based on ale manufacturing and ale trading. But we have no orchards, we have no farmers, we have no we're not growing anything. So everything's imported from here. And you can kind of see, I'll pan around the way the city has been built with multiple marketplaces just in a row, with lots of taverns on the borders of those, and then houses, filling in the gaps. Uh, but this has been a very successful uh, way that I've built the city. You can see a lot of these diagonal roads. These have really improved the efficiency as people are moving things from these trading posts up to the marketplaces. Uh, in this small area, you can see I have three marketplaces, which is really overkill. But in each marketplace, I have 10 people. So it really is a good strategy for moving a quantity of goods into an area where you can then have a lot of taverns to produce ale. And this is a good wealth generating strategy. The problem that I'm having right now is if I look through all of my current trading posts, I'm trading firewood and I'm trading ale. In these ones, I'm trading hide coats and wool coats. I do have some tailors. None of them are producing warm coats. So all of the pastures that I have some beef pastures, and I have some cow pastures, and I have some sheep pastures. These are all being used to produce hide coats and wool coats, and I'm importing the warm coats from traders. But by and large, what I'm trading here is firewood and ale. So if we go through all of these different trading posts, which are automated at this point, so I don't have to really deal with these things, you can see that we're dealing with a lot of firewood. And if you can see in the global box here, firewood is low. So we're at 404. It's the late winter. We have 22,000 lumber. So, if we look at the numbers here, if we don't explore anything else, right, and this is really what the video is about, if we don't do any further exploration, we could look at this and we could say, okay, well, I have 15 woodcutters to 80 foresters. So the problem is that I need to build more woodcutters. That seems to be the problem. Except in this equation, I've only had these 15 woodcutters for a very long time, and they've always worked fine. It was only until recently when I had to add 2 additional trading posts to kind of offset my food deficit. And those are some topics I've talked about in previous videos. But when I did this, my consumption of firewood started to become higher. So if we start to look around the map here, you can see there's really not a lot of room for trees. So my foresters are really limited in terms of the amount they can bring in. And nevertheless, I still have a surplus of 22,000. That number, though, is kind of a lie. I mean, here you can see we have a nice little forest. But the reason that 22,000 is a lie is because a long time ago I did this, and I just went and put a massive surplus of logs into, let's just say, a bank. And so that 22,000 is primarily locked up in this grid, and this is really nowhere near any woodcutters. And if we divorce this quantity from what I do have available, it's not helping. Like, I mean, I have foresters down here working, right? Like, I don't know. Let's just find one real quick. There's one. There's foresters working down here. I mean, they're not producing that many logs that are going to either this stockpile or this stockpile or this stockpile. There's just not a lot of trees down here. So where we are getting trees is kind of up in this quadrant. I mean, you can see a massive surplus here. So this is kind of where you need to reorganize your city. And oh, look at this. I can quickly build a nice little stone path connecting. There we go. Nice and pretty. And you just have to incrementally improve your city and look at it in this context. I mean, here, what I need to do unequivocally is build some additional woodcutters right up here. And, oh, can I do 2? No. Let's see, where can I get one more? There we go. And that's simple enough. This should really offset my deficit. But it isn't solving other problems. And the larger problem here is I'm starting to export firewood at a greater rate than I'm really producing domestic lumber. And slowly I can see that if I start to get rid of these stockpiles, I'm going to have a deficit. So one solution would be to start importing firewood, uh, and start purchasing it and not selling it, which is something I've slowly started to do. The problem with doing something like this is that every single one of these trading boats you need to individually configure, and each one of them can come a total of 5 times. So, for example, just this little area here, there would be 5, 10, 15, 20 different boats that come. And now, granted, some of these are cattle boats, right? Like, who cares? There's nothing to customize here. But there are 3 boats where you do have to customize it. Well, 2 when it comes to firewood. And so you just can't reliably start purchasing firewood for a city I mean, let's see how many people I have here. At least I found it this time. For a city of 1,253, you just can't reliably begin purchasing firewood or lumber or other material resources on a dime, because you need to monitor each one of your trading posts and configure them appropriately. So all of the trading posts you're seeing here, these the everything that's being purchased by them and everything that's being ordered by them has been set up since they were born. And to go in and just start making modifications to these things becomes very problematic. Uh, one thing while we're here, this is my bank. This map does not have a lake. I've talked about banks in other videos where I build trading posts on lakes that no no traders can ever get to. This map does not have any lakefront like that or any riverfront like that. So I've built it here on the river. I theoretically could sell any of these things for food at any point if I need to, but I do have an extra 1,000 stone, 1,000 iron, 4,000 ale, 500 warm coats, and 1,000 steel tools just to fuck around with. Uh, but I mean, this is the general layout of the town. We do have some pastures. We don't have too many. They're not gimmicky. Uh, I've had fun with this town. We have a number of tailors. I used to have some blacksmiths. I probably should purchase some more coal. So I do have some traders that are bringing in iron, coal, and stone. And I just randomly purchase those whenever I feel like it. Uh, Obviously, you can see the coal is at 0 right now because our firewood is so low. So the people have been burning coal instead of firewood. Uh, I guess before we end the video, we can just go back to the town hall real quick. Late winter, year 162. I'm really kind of looking forward to my achievement. Uh, if we go into the production tab, where's food at? So this is what, say, current use. All right, so here's by the year. You know, I'm producing far less than I'm using. So this is an import-based economy. Um, if you look at the production for logs, you can see there's this deficit I kind of hinted at, but with 22,000 in reserve, a deficit of 300 is not going to become apparent anytime soon. So that's just kind of something you can kind of see heading off the pass. Fuel, this is firewood, so it's 11,000 to 18,000. Obviously, you can see the problem here. This is much more exaggerated than this, but granted, we're in the process of building a couple extra woodcutters. And you probably do want to go through and just kind of like remove some of these stockpiles, some of these old woodcutters. Like, there's no reason for me to have 3 of these guys here and 2 stockpiles. I could get away with 1 stockpile and 1 woodcutter, and then I could put something else here. So I could put some additional taverns here, some additional housing. I don't need extra housing, some wells, anything you can imagine. I mean, it might even be better just being trees at this point, but there's no reason for me to have 2 stockpiles here and 3 woodcutters. It's kind of the long and the short of what I'm saying. Uh, So I think that's about it on the production. I mean, like tools and steel tools and worm coats are being purchased, so those are being brought in. I am occasionally purchasing herbs. We have I think 1 or 2 trading posts that will purchase those. I'm up to 2,000 in my stockpile. The trading posts that are purchasing those are purchasing those in a very small quantity, and I do have 15 herbalists. Although this isn't for gathering, this is for distributing. So I have random herbalists like right here. I mean, this guy, he's not here to collect. He's not here to like go find herbs. He's here to distribute them to the population. So, that's kind of what that number represents. It's textiles, my inventory we looked at, graphs. You can see a really nice sine wave here. I did have a really catastrophic tornado at one point. It wasn't as bad as it could have been, but I also had a number of illnesses and just random kind of bad luck where you can kind of see if you look right here at this. We had a couple rough spots. Our food was probably even worse than this. We really kind of sank down to the bottom and we jumped up. Uh, as the population grows and shrinks, it becomes difficult to have enough available laborers to always replace workers that are dying. So you can easily start to lose people in like really critical critical roles. Uh, so that's kind of where things are at now. I don't anticipate too many more challenges as we get towards 200. Uh, as I understand it, all I have to do is just go in, disable my mods, save my game, load my game, and cross the 200-year mark, and I should be able to get my achievement. I'm proud to be a cheater. Thanks for watching. I'll check in later. Take care.